What's up everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to install the Surron motor onto our drift carts. Now we just released the brackets so you can upgrade your drift carts with the Surron base motor or the Surron FW1. Both are two very beefy motors. If you guys are interested in purchasing the bracket, it is now available on the website www.battleoil.com. Obviously the motors aren't included, but you can purchase it on your own and upgrade your carts. So pretty much here is what the bracket kit is included with. This is all the brackets and tie rods and hardware. And one thing to mention, if you guys are upgrading your motors, as usual, you might need to extend some of the wires. In this case, on the Surron motor, we did have to extend the blue wire about 2-3 inches, but go ahead and extend it accordingly to how you want to route your wire. In this install guide, we're going to show you guys how to modify the version 1 carts to fit the Surron bracket so you can run the Surron motor. Unfortunately, the version 1 carts were never intended to fit the Surron motor, so we do have to make a cutout to clear the motor and drill out 2 holes for the mounting holes. If you have the version 2 carts, as you can see, the version 2 carts have the big U-shape cut out and the 2 holes drilled out already. So if you have the version 2 carts, you do not have to do any modifications to the cart. You can just go straight to the installation part and you can skip all the cutting sections of this install guide. So the first step is you're going to go ahead and unbolt the bearing on the right side of the rear axle and the collar as well. And we're going to install this bracket in between the bearing and the frame. So go ahead and do that and reinstall the nuts and bolts. Next step, you're gonna go ahead and grab a M8 flange bolt and a nut, and go ahead and grab a tie rod and install it on the top of the bracket. So now you're gonna go ahead and tighten the bolts on the wheel bearing, and then go ahead and push the collar up against the wheel bearing and tighten it to secure the wheel bearing. So now you're gonna go ahead and grab the motor and grab the sprocket that's provided, and go ahead and install it onto the motor. There is a opening on the sprocket. Go ahead and match the tooth on the motor and then secure the sprocket by installing the nut and tightening it. So now you're going to go ahead and grab the smaller triangle bracket and an MA bolt and go ahead and thread it onto the motor. So on this next bolt, you're going to go ahead and grab 2 M6 washers, and you're going to go ahead and use that to space out the bracket and the motor. And then go ahead and insert a M6 bolt and thread it into the motor. Now go ahead and tighten the 2 bolts. So now you're gonna go ahead and flip the motor and go ahead and grab the boomerang-like bracket, and we're gonna install it on this side of the motor. Go ahead and grab the M8 hardware with the washer and insert the bolt on the other end with the other bracket as shown in this video.
So this one we don't tie all the way down. Should we?
Yeah, of course.
Should we put it on the cart because it's going to rotate?
Yes.
And this one we can tighten all the way down. All right.
So the next portion of this install, and again, this is only for the V1 carts, go ahead and grab a ruler and trace out the line and trace it out like how we did in the video. One thing to mention is go ahead and trace out the side that you're planning to cut on. We drew it on the inside just to show you guys where we traced the line, but wherever you plan to cut, go ahead and trace that side, and go ahead and grab an angle grinder or sawzall or whatever you have to cut that piece out. Now we're gonna go ahead and drill one more hole on this side of the frame. Go ahead and grab the bracket and insert 3 3/8 bolts on the back end so we can use the bracket as a stencil. Go ahead and mark out the hole that we need to drill out, and go ahead and remove the bracket and drill the hole out to about 1/4 inch until the M6 bolt goes through. So now you're gonna go ahead and install this bracket onto this chassis. Go ahead and use all the hardware that we provided and install it like how we did in this video. Don't forget to use the washers to space out the bracket to the chassis like we did in this install.
Something like that.
Now go ahead and secure that bracket by installing the nuts and tightening it.
So what's our hardware is?
This is 3/8 and this is M6.
So now we're gonna go ahead and grab the motor and we're gonna install it onto the bracket we just installed. There's threaded holes on the motor, so you're gonna install it with a M8 bolt. And once you get it secured, we're gonna go to the other side to trace out 2 more holes that we need to drill out, and then we're ready for the full installation. So now you're gonna go on the other side and trace out the 2 holes on this left bracket. And once you get it traced out with a marker, go ahead and remove the motor and take a drill to drill out the holes, and you're gonna drill it out to about 3/8 of an inch. Once the holes are drilled out, go ahead and grab the motor, and we're gonna go ahead and install the motor onto the chassis. So we're gonna go ahead and start off on the left side. Go ahead and grab a 3/8 bolts and washer. You're gonna insert it from the bottom, and then go ahead and secure the 2 bolts on the left side with the nut. So now we're gonna go on the other side and install the M8 bolt on the other side that goes into the Surron motor, but we're not gonna fully tighten it just yet. So now we're gonna go back to the top of the motor. Go ahead and grab a M8 bolt and go ahead and grab a 3/8 nut. We're gonna use this as a washer, so go ahead and insert it on this top side of the bracket. After the spacer, go ahead and insert the tie rod, and then you're gonna go ahead and sandwich the tie rod with the coupler. So now you're gonna go ahead and work on the other side. Go ahead and grab the long M8 bolts, thread it through the bracket, and then before you tighten it into the coupler, go ahead and install a nut, and then go ahead and tighten it into the coupler. After you got the bolt fully threaded in, go ahead and tighten the bolt.
Alright, so how the chain tensioner works, it has a turnbuckle here, and it moves the motor, it rotates the motor forward and back, and that's how we tension the chain. So we just turn this turnbuckle. You can see it starts to tension. So it's actually tensioned already. So, but I can put it back loose so you can see how loose it is. So now it's not tensioned, it's really loose. And just turn it the other way. It starts to tension it. You want a little bit of slack. Make sure it spins smoothly. Yeah, so after you finish tensioning the chain, then you want to tighten these bolts. These 13mm M8 bolts. So you tighten both sides, there's just one on each side. And then that'll be it.
Now we're gonna go ahead and align the big red sprocket to our motor sprocket, and then once we get it aligned, we're gonna go ahead and tighten the Allen bolts to secure the sprocket. So the next step is we're gonna go ahead and install the wires onto the controller. Go ahead and color match it, and then connect the Hall sensor connector, and we're pretty much done with the install. So after you finish with the controller install, go ahead and install the cover, and then we can move on to the tuning section. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into the FAR driver app, and we're gonna go ahead and change the settings to match the Surron motor.
Sweet 84, 83. Oh, 84 here. Just that one. And then the bowl pair should be, I already have it set at 5, but it should be at 5. So save that. And that's it.
So if you want to add or reduce power, we're going to show you guys how to do it. Make sure you do this at your own discretion, and make sure you have the correct specs, because you do not want to burn out your hardware. Anywho, on the left side, max line current and boost line current, that pretty much controls how much amps it pulls from your battery. We recommend starting at 100, but if you want to add more amps to it, make sure you check your battery to see how many amps that it can actually output, and then you can go according to your battery. And then on the right side, max phase current, that controls how much amps it pulls from your motor. One thing to note, our controller that we provide, it maxes out at 450 amps. So if you want to go past that, you have to upgrade the controller. We recommend starting the max phase amp around 300, 350, and then if you need more, just add it accordingly. But make sure you do this to your own discretion. Make sure you do research on how to properly do it so you don't run any issues with your cart. So the next step is we're gonna go ahead and go to the main menu and click the Autolearn function. Go ahead and click it and then hold the gas down and then let the Autolearn process fully go through. And then once it's done, you're pretty much good to go. If you notice that the motor is going in reverse when it should be going in forward, we'll show you guys how to reverse the motor so you can get it in the correct orientation.
Let go. Give it some gas. Alright, good. There, I'm clicking it too many times. Let's double it. Alright, now it's forward.
And just like that, we are done with the install. So if you guys like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on our social media. And if you guys are interested in your own drift carts, please check out our website at www.battlerl.com. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.